Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Yaya Jata Fanusi, producer of the Jabbari Lincoln Files podcast. And before we get into the next backstory, I must apologize. Some of you, if you listened last week, you know I had a survey for you all to help pick a name for Jabbari's mom. And lo and behold, the link did not work, and I didn't get to it until a few days later. So I'm going to give you another opportunity. I fixed the link. It should work. So if you would like to participate in picking a name for Jabbari Lincoln's mother, the character of Jabbari Lincoln's mom, just go to the show notes and click on the link for the survey, and it should work this time. Thank you. One of my favorite shows as a kid was called Silver Spoons. It was so removed from the life I knew growing up in Detroit. Here was this Ricky Schroeder kid living in a mansion with arcade games in his living room. We had board games. We played Monopoly. Ricky was living it up. We were a solid middle-class family in a solid working-class neighborhood. We didn't have much money, but we had community. At least in my early childhood days. As I got older, the community cocoon seemed to burst, though. There weren't many butterflies that grew out of it, not that I saw. Or maybe my family cocoon had just been protecting me from what was always around, keeping it at arm's length. Because it seemed we had what we needed in the early days. We always did fun stuff as a family, maybe not Disney World, but we were never bored. My parents made sure of it. But when I watched Silver Spoons, I was in awe. That kid was living his best life. My parents told us not to be materialistic. They explained that the best reward was in the hereafter. Anything else on earth was just the sprinkles. My mom said, "Do you want the sprinkles or do you want the cupcake?" "I want both," I said. Sprinkles was a good description of our cash flow. We never went to bed hungry, thank God. But our money didn't measure up to the lifestyle of the families on Silver Spoons or Different Strokes or even the Jeffersons. Shoot, George and Wheezy had a maid. The little we did have, I saw my parents spend it on the community, money and time. As I got older, it became clear that math was my superpower. I started interacting with kids in the suburbs for math clubs and math camps. That's when I saw what wealth looked like up close. I started to think as I got older that my family's charitable community spirit did not mix well with wealth creation. And I admit I still struggle with that disconnect, how often those who want to give the most of themselves have the least to give. There are exceptions. Detroit certainly has had its share of audio industry and Motown philanthropists, but the last few decades have been more bust than boom, leading to less cash flowing, mostly sprinkles. And when I got to college, I did see firsthand how money wasn't everything. I had a roommate who was a wealthy international student, son of a filthy rich businessman. But living with him, I could tell he wasn't fully satisfied with his life. He had an immense pressure from his family that I just didn't understand. It seemed as though his family's acceptance was elusive despite his academic achievement. I never really understood that dynamic. Maybe I was still in my cocoon. Maybe we're all in our cocoons, looking out, judging other people's forms, criticizing them for not being butterflies. Not realizing that when any of us get stunned by drama and trauma, we flutter about and can crash like moths. Well, that's it for this one. Signing off, Jabbari Lincoln.